My 5-year-old daughter committed suicide by jumping from the school building. I was unperturbed, but her teacher was frantic. She kept calling and messaging me, insisting that my daughter had died and I needed to get to the school immediately. I simply turned off my phone, relaxed, and indulged in some movies and TV shows. In my previous life, I had received the teacher's call and rushed to the school like a madwoman, only to find my daughter's cold body. The teacher told me that my daughter, in her final moments, had cried out that her mother had been abusing her for a long time. Unable to endure it any longer, she had jumped. Even my husband accused me of constantly mistreating her at home. Yet, I had always cherished my daughter, not even raising my voice, let alone laying a hand on her. Amidst everyone's accusations, the forensic doctor lifted my daughter's clothes. Seeing the countless scars that had accumulated over the years, the doctor concluded that she had suffered long-term abuse. I was defenseless against the accusations, becoming a vile mother, a murderer, in everyone's eyes. My parents were cyberbullied, my company went bankrupt, and they were ultimately driven to their tragic deaths at home. As for me, I was thrown into prison, where I was abused to death. Until the moment of my death, I couldn't understand how my daughter, whom I had always doted on, ended up taking her life with a body covered in wounds. Then I opened my eyes, and I was back on the day my daughter committed suicide. "Honey, come and eat breakfast. Try the dish I especially learned for you." Liam, as always, brought breakfast to me with a gentle and caring smile. His warm and familiar face made me shudder. Liam was my live-in husband. Since our marriage, he had been taking care of the daily needs of my daughter and me. Over the years, he had been meticulous, thoughtful, and exceptionally caring to both of us. My friends always envied me for finding such a gentle and kind man. I thought so too. If not for his eyes blazing with fury in my last life when he publicly denounced me as a woman who had been abusing our daughter for a long time, I would never have known he had such a twisted side to him. "Honey, what are you staring at? Come eat." Liam waved his hand in front of my face. Suppressing the full of doubts and resentment, I sat at the table. I looked at my daughter, Lily, who was quietly sipping milk opposite me. My eyes instantly turned red. Today was the day. After Lily finished breakfast and left for school, she would commit suicide. By the time I arrived at the school, all I would see was her lifeless body. I had held her cold body and cried until I almost passed out. But the teacher had pointed at me, telling me not to pretend. I was confused, but she had sternly declared that my daughter had jumped because of my long-term domestic abuse. She even claimed that my daughter had said she would rather die than return home. Just as I was confronting the teacher, Liam had arrived from home. I had been expecting him to clear my name, but instead, with bloodshot eyes, he had publicly scolded me. "Ever since I married into your family, you've done nothing but beat and yell at me, never treating me like a human being. I tolerated all that for our daughter. I told you, you could do anything to me, but why did you have to do this to our daughter? I begged you so many times. Why did you have to push her to death?" Every word Liam had spoken was filled with blood and tears, a heart-rending expression. He publicly accused me of all kinds of atrocities, portraying me as a wicked woman who took pleasure in torturing others. My earnest explanations were drowned out by the scornful curses from the onlookers. It wasn't until the forensic doctor came to examine my daughter's body, exposing the countless scars that covered her body, new and old, did the doctor immediately conclude that the injuries had formed from long-term abuse. Even a tiger doesn't eat its cubs. This woman is worse than an animal. People like this don't deserve a husband or children, let alone to live. Her daughter is so pitiful, to have such an inhuman monster of a mother. Letting someone like this live for one more second is polluting the earth. With irrefutable evidence, the insults rained down on me. Some of the onlookers threw trash and rocks at me, wishing they could beat me to death on the spot. Amidst the torrent of curses, I was handcuffed and taken to the police station. Soon, evil mother, wicked woman, and poor father and daughter topped the trending charts. Netizens all over had cursed and insulted me in the vilest language. My parents were doxxed, and our company went bankrupt. They were forced to stay indoors, afraid to go out. Every time they did, they would be pelted with feces, insults, and funeral wreaths. In the end, they died tragically at home. Their bodies were left to rot before anyone discovered them. As for me, I was abused to death by inmates in prison. Until my last breath, I had not understood why my doted-on daughter had taken her own life with her body riddled with injuries. The pain from my last life was vivid and unforgettable. In this life, I was determined to get to the bottom of everything. I finished breakfast as usual. As Liam was about to take Lily to school, I stopped him. Lily's hair is a bit messy. Let me comb it for her. With that, I took Lily into the bathroom. I closed the door and directly lifted her shirt. Lily's body was smooth as jade, without a single bruise. It was completely different from her body covered in scars in my previous life. So, where did it all go wrong? Why would her body be covered in new and old wounds just hours later? Honey, are you done yet? Lily is going to be late. Liam knocked on the door, urging me. I opened the door and looked at Liam. I'll take Lily to kindergarten today. A hint of puzzlement flashed in Liam's eyes, followed by a slight smile. Then I appreciate your hard work, honey. He turned around without a word and started cleaning up the table. His behavior and reaction were so normal that there was not a trace of anything wrong. But this only made me more eager to get to the truth. On the drive to school, I couldn't help but ask Lily, Lily, has anyone bullied you at kindergarten? Lily gave me a sweet smile. No, I'm very popular at kindergarten. Everyone likes to play with me. I paused and continued. How about your teachers? How are they treating you? Our teachers are all very nice, and the homeroom teacher often tells me stories and gives me small gifts. Lily's answer was natural and crisp. Her innocent face was filled with happiness. I parked the car on the side of the road and looked at Lily very seriously. How do you feel about Mommy? Lily opened her clear big eyes and answered without hesitation. Mommy is very good to me too. After speaking, Lily kissed my face. Lily loves Mommy the most. I hugged Lily, not saying another word, and directly took her to the kindergarten. Lily's homeroom teacher was at the entrance. Lily's mom, how come you have time to send your kid to school today? The homeroom teacher smiled and greeted me, holding Lily by the hand. My company's not too busy today. I responded with a smile while observing the teacher unobtrusively. She smiled slightly, squatted down, and affectionately patted Lily's nose. Lily, look how much your mommy loves you. She came all the way to drop you off despite how busy she is. The teacher's behavior was kind and natural. Even the way she looked at Lily was filled with genuine care and didn't seem like a two-faced person hiding there. True nature. However, this only confused me further. In my previous life, I had a good relationship with Lily's homeroom teacher. She was friendly, good to Lily, and always wore a smile. Every child in the class liked her. I had wanted to invite her to dinner several times to thank her for taking such good care of my daughter, but she had declined, saying it was her duty as a teacher and didn't need any additional thanks. In my heart, she was a good, responsible, fair teacher. Yet, this righteous and amiable teacher would publicly accuse me of being a mother who had abused her daughter after just a few hours. I couldn't figure out which part had gone wrong. It was only 3 hours until my daughter was supposed to jump, but I still had no clue what to do. I started to sweat at the thought of my lively daughter suddenly turning into a cold corpse. In my previous life, everything had happened so suddenly. I was powerless to change it. In this life, I wouldn't let that tragedy happen again. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Lily's teacher, I left, but not too far. I continued to observe from a distance. I didn't leave even after the whole kindergarten closed its doors and began classes. Sitting in the car, I racked my brain, trying to understand what was going on. Why did I become a universally despised, wicked woman when I hadn't done anything? Why did my daughter leave the house perfectly fine, but a few hours later, she was covered in old and new wounds, then jumped to her death? Why did the always caring Liam and the righteous teacher change their faces, accusing me of fabricated crimes? The questions swirled in my mind, making me more and more confused. I knew that something wasn't right, but I couldn't figure out what it was. I could only try to recall the events of my previous life, hoping to find some clues to solve the mystery. After thinking for 40 minutes, I had a revelation. Aha! I immediately called my secretary. Quick, help me investigate something. After instructing him, I was restless, waiting in the car for the information. The whole time, my heart was pounding fast. I desperately wanted to know if I was close to the truth. 10 minutes later, the secretary called back and shared the results of his investigation. As I listened to his report, my hand holding the phone wouldn't stop trembling. As I suspected, everything was as I had imagined. I sternly commanded, "Help me handle something, as fast as possible and at any cost. Remember, don't tell anyone." After giving the orders, I drove away from the kindergarten. 2 hours later, the homeroom teacher called. She called multiple times, as if something bad had happened. When I didn't answer, she started sending messages. "Lily's mom, something bad has happened. Your daughter committed suicide by jumping from the kindergarten. Please come here now." Lily's mom, why aren't you answering your phone? Come to the kindergarten now, after you see this message. A barrage of urgent messages flooded my phone. I turned off my phone and went back to my office at work to continue watching my movie in the break room. Half an hour later, after the movie was over, I turned on my phone to see that the internet was filled with insults against me. There were also many live broadcasts. The live venue was Lily's kindergarten. In the video, the teacher, with tears in her eyes, cried out in pain. Lily has always been very well behaved. The kids and teachers at the kindergarten all like her. I don't understand how her mother could have done this to such a lovable child and beat her up like this. Once Lily cried and told me that she would rather die than go home. I thought she was joking, but I never expected she would really jump. She's only 5 years old. How much suffering did she have to endure to choose this path? I called her mother more than 10 times, but she won't answer. She doesn't reply to my messages. It's like her daughter's death has nothing to do with her. How could there be such a cold-hearted mother in this world? The teacher then played a video on her phone. In the video, Lily carefully said, "Teacher Sue, I'll give you all the candy in my backpack. Please don't let me go home. Okay? My mother beats me every day. I'm so afraid of her. I don't want to go home." Lily's eyes were filled with tears, as well as fear. It made the teacher burst into tears. The live broadcast's popularity skyrocketed. All the comments lamented Lily's death and cursed me for being a monster of a mother. Liam was also there, holding Lily's body and crying to the camera. Sarah, my given name, relied on her family's wealth to look down on me, an in-law. At home, she did whatever she wanted. She beat and abused me and my daughter when she was in a bad mood, completely treating us like animals. Liam rolled up his sleeves to show the bruises on his arms to the camera. I've considered divorce for this, but she said if I divorced her, I would never see my daughter again. Because I couldn't bear to leave my daughter, I kept enduring it. But I never expected that my daughter would be forced to jump. I regret it so much. Why did I marry such a venomous woman? Like in my previous life, Liam described my atrocities with great passion and anguish. His heart-wrenching pain and grievances infuriated the viewers. Oh my God, how can there be such a disgusting woman in this world? She doesn't deserve to be a human being. The parents who can raise such a monster must not be good people either. I hope that heaven will open its eyes and make all the monsters in this family die. I am so angry that I am trembling. Can any kind person just take her out of this world? The netizens' anger had been ignited. One by one, they all seemed eager to put me to death. The power of public opinion was overwhelming. In my previous life, looking at my daughter's body, my husband's betrayal, and the accusations from the whole internet, my heart was completely crushed, leaving me speechless and unable to defend myself. I ended up in prison, where I was abused and killed by inmates. Even my parents were dragged into this and died. But in this life, seeing the same insults and curses replayed, I did not feel any emotional disturbance. Instead, I felt a sense of victorious satisfaction. I put away my phone and drove to the kindergarten. Looking at the accident scene, surrounded by people, I smirked. The show was about to begin. After getting out of the car, Before I could even enter the kindergarten, my dad called me. Sarah, what's going on there? Why did Lily suddenly commit suicide? Before my dad finished speaking, my mom started to cry. Why did Liam say those things about you? You're not that kind of person at all. Hearing my parents' worried voices, my eyes instantly turned red. In my last life, everyone had considered me a wicked woman and had cursed me with the most vicious words. Even the inmates in prison treated me like an animal that had killed a child and had abused me to death. Only my parents had always believed in me and defended me. But their explanations had been misinterpreted as malicious cover-ups. The netizens had vented all their anger on them, forcing them to a tragic death at home. To prevent the same thing from happening again, I cautioned them carefully, Mom and Dad, don't worry, I will handle this. Stay at home, don't interfere. You'll see what's really going on here soon enough. As soon as I finished speaking, an egg suddenly hit me. I looked up to see a middle-aged woman who had a stall nearby was glaring at me, yelling, I recognize you. You're the evil mother of that poor child. Hearing this, the people around me turned and pointed at me, and some even spit at me. Ignoring them, I threw my hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jacket into the trash can and walked straight into the kindergarten. Seeing me, Liam, who had been crying to the camera, got excited. Sarah, what did you do to our daughter? Why did she choose to jump to her death rather than facing you at home? This morning you volunteered to send our daughter to school, and I had thought you'd seen the error of your ways, that you would start to repent. I didn't expect that you would directly force your daughter to her death. If you have any issues with me, come at me. Why did you have to be so cruel to our daughter? She's only 5 years old. Liam roared at me with tears streaming down his face. His eyes conveyed the fatherly love that he was willing to give everything for his daughter. His intense emotions didn't seem like a performance, although I had witnessed his strange and frightening madness in my previous life, and I was prepared for it this time. It still stung to watch the man I had shared a bed with for so many years plotting to harm me. I couldn't help but feel a pang of grief in my heart. Before I could speak, the homeroom teacher also started scolding, Lily's mom, even if you dislike your own child, you shouldn't have forced her to death. She's your child that you carried for 10 months, a human life. How could you be so heartless? Why can't you be good to her after giving birth to her? Her emotions were also on point. The onlookers were all inspired by her righteous indignation and started praising her. But I found it all ridiculous. I looked at the two of them and said calmly, Are you two done with your acting? This one sentence stunned everyone on the spot. Liam and the teacher paused for a moment and exchanged glances. Liam turned to me bewildered. What do you mean? Our daughter is dead, and you still think we are acting? The evidence is right here. Are you still trying to justify your actions? Hearing this, the crowd became agitated again and glared at me with contempt. The comments on the live stream also started to insult me again. I was too lazy to waste any more time on him and directly presented all the evidence I'd asked my secretary to find. In front of the crowd and the cameras, there were intimate photos of Liam and Lily's teacher, their messages to each other, and the large amounts of money Liam transferred to her. I looked at Liam and said coldly, You two have been seeing each other behind my back, and she even got her teaching job through you, right? In my previous life, I had been so immersed in Liam's tender act that I had never suspected him of anything. However, upon further reflection, all the seemingly ordinary events were not so ordinary. For instance, Liam had always been very eager to pick up and drop off Lily from school. Sometimes he would leave too early or come back too late, and every time it would take a long time. And when he did come back, the teacher's Lily scent was particularly strong on him. But because they both seemed so proper, I never thought twice about it. Now that I think about it, they must have been doing a lot right under my nose. As I asked these questions, the camera quickly zoomed in, clearly showing Liam's confusion and panic. The comments on the live stream changed their tone immediately. Wow, look at her husband's reaction. He's obviously been seeing the kindergarten teacher. I never thought that this man was also a jerk. He's also quite manipulative. He keeps his mistress at his daughter's school. That way, He can steal secret moments with her every time he picks up his kid. I knew it. There's no man in the world that doesn't cheat. The onlookers also began to look at Liam with a strange look. But Liam was not afraid. He stood up straight and said, "So what if that's true? Isn't it all because of you? You're like a tigress at home, beating and yelling at me. I'm just looking for a gentle woman to soothe my wounded heart. Is that wrong? And no matter how wrong I was, that's no reason for you to push our daughter to her death." Hearing this, the teacher agreed. "Exactly. You have an awful character. You refuse to repent and are just trying to deflect the attention on us. Do you think you can wash away the fact that you beat and killed your daughter?" They started putting all the blame on me again. The fickle onlookers and the internet users started to target me, cursing at me again. I, who was prepared for all this, took out my phone. "Why don't we see what you call a suicide jump?" As I was speaking, I started playing a video from my phone. In the video, the teacher dragged Lily up to the roof. After a brief exchange, she picked up Lily and threw her off the building. The whole process was smooth and without delay. After seeing Lily fall to the ground without moving, the teacher clapped her hands and left with a smile on her face. The video clearly and comprehensively recorded the whole process of the teacher's crime. After watching the video, the live chat became frantic with comments. "Oh my God, she didn't jump to her death. The teacher murdered her. This teacher is a monster. She killed her and then tried to put the blame on the child's mother. That's so terrifying. That jerk of a husband actually let this inhuman monster be a kindergarten teacher. It's a good thing there was a camera, or who knows how many more kids this monster will hurt." The anger of the onlookers reached the boiling point. They glared at the teacher, wishing they could tear her apart. It was obvious that her depraved actions had angered everyone. No one could imagine how many more children would suffer if this murderer continued to run free. Under the glare of the crowd, the arrogant teacher panicked. This isn't possible. The video must be fake. There's no security camera at that spot." As expected, the teacher had chosen that spot intentionally. She had picked a hidden spot on the roof with no security cameras to create a fake suicide. No one would have known the truth if she hadn't said anything. But she didn't know that I was a reborn person. I clearly remembered the time and place of this incident, so I had secretly asked my secretary to install a hidden camera at that spot beforehand. It was to record the whole incident, but even I didn't expect that she would go this far. To frame me, she didn't hesitate to kill her. I smiled coldly and said, "I've already submitted this video to the police. They'll determine if it's real." Hearing my words, the teacher's legs gave out and she took a few steps back. Liam, seeing this, stepped forward to shift the attention from her again. He pointed at me, yelling, "So you knew about this all along, didn't you? How could you be such a mother? You watched your own daughter in danger, but you did nothing but just stand there and watch? Is your grudge more important than your daughter's life? It's no wonder you don't feel sad. I think you wanted your daughter dead to take revenge on us." Liam's emotions exploded, shifting everyone's focus again. Hearing his words, the crowd and the online community became furious again. "She's right. She's a mother. How could she be so calm when her daughter is dead? Even if her daughter's death had nothing to do with her, she's still too cold-hearted, isn't she? That's right. She must have been blinded by jealousy and didn't care about her daughter's life. Just look at her emotionless face. I can tell that she's not a good person." Liam successfully turned the anger toward me and reversed the situation, but I was not worried at all. I calmly dialed a number. "Bring him here." Seeing me doing this, Liam frowned and asked, "What are you doing now?" I answered without changing my expression, "Aren't you curious as to why I'm not sad about my daughter's death? You'll see soon enough." Everyone there was drawn in by my words. They were all anxiously waiting to see how I would defend myself. Liam snorted and said, "Stop playing tricks. Do you think you can change the fact that you are a monster of a mother? Her body is right here, and her wounds are there for all to see, even if she didn't kill herself. You can't escape responsibility." Liam pointed at the body on the ground with an arrogant look of confidence, as if he had won. I glanced at the body on the ground and said without expression, "Look again. Does she really have any injuries on her?" Hearing this, Liam looked as though I had said something unbelievable and sneered, "Are you still trying to argue? I wanted to save your face a little, but if you insist on exposing your crimes, I won't hold back." Liam stepped forward, confidently lifted up the clothes of the body on the ground. But the smooth back, besides the injuries and blood from the fall, had no other marks. Liam's eyes widened in shock. He started to look at other areas, but there was not a single old wound. This is not possible." Liam was stunned. The other onlookers were stunned as well. Didn't they say that the child was abused? She looks like she's been well taken care of. Yeah, what's going on? Among everyone's confusion, the teacher nervously picked up the body on the ground and thoroughly examined it, paying close attention to the child's face. At the end, she was like someone hit by lightning. Trembling, she said, "How did this happen? No, impossible." Her face turned pale and she collapsed on the ground. After being stunned for a moment, she started to hug the child and cry hysterically. Seeing this, the onlookers were even more confused. What's going on? Why is the teacher so sad as if her own child died? That's right. Didn't she kill this child herself? What is she crying about? As everyone was discussing, my secretary arrived with the child. Seeing the child, everyone's eyes widened in shock. My first meeting with Liam was at my company. At that time, I was just an intern doing my training at the bottom. I was insignificant and not very talented, and just a small, insignificant character in the company. Liam was also an intern. He had joined at the same time. He was not too smart and seemed a bit clumsy, but he grew up in the countryside and had gotten used to working hard and being diligent. He was the hardest working intern in the company, working all the time and never slacking off. No matter when I saw him, he was always working hard on his computer. I was touched by his perseverance. He was going to be fired because he wasn't doing so well, but because of my covert help, he was hired on as a permanent employee early. He was so happy that day. His whole body was glowing, and he looked so energetic. After he was hired, he became even more diligent. I was very impressed by his perseverance and his unwillingness to give up. So, I started getting to know him. After talking to him, I realized that Liam, who looked quiet and shy, could actually speak well. He often made me laugh. I felt very relaxed and comfortable around him. Even when we were quiet, just being with him made me feel at peace. But we didn't become more than friends until after he saved me. One day, after an event, I ran into a group of drunk men who started harassing me. I was very scared and helpless, but at that critical moment, Liam appeared like a knight in shining armor. Even though he ended up getting beaten up, he managed to save me. That was the first time I fell in love with him, with the man who was willing to put himself in harm's way for me. I couldn't help but confess to him, and he accepted me. And that's how we started to date. While dating, I pretended to be an average person. I ate at roadside stalls with him, took walks, went to parks, watched movies, and visited amusement parks. Life was simple and happy. Later, I brought Liam to meet my parents. When Liam found out that I was the daughter of the wealthiest man, he became nervous and uncomfortable. My parents knew that he grew up in the countryside, but they didn't look down on him. They said they didn't care about social standing because even the richest families were not richer than mine. They had only one request, that he become my in-law. Because I was the only child, my parents didn't want me to marry into another family. I thought Liam might hesitate, struggle, or even refuse because he was the only son in his family. Being an in-law wasn't a great thing for a man. But surprisingly, Liam agreed without hesitation. He even said that he would only be good to me and only love me. To prove his loyalty, he even signed a prenuptial agreement that promised he would leave me without anything if he cheated on me. I was incredibly touched. After we were married, Liam was always good to me, gentle and considerate. He took care of me in every way possible. Even when our daughter took my last name, he did not care. He always treated her like his precious gem. For many years, I was immersed in the kind man persona that Liam had created. I had believed he was a good husband and a good father. But in reality, it was all just his pretense. From my secretary's report, I realized that Liam had been having an affair while he was dating me. That woman was Lily's teacher, Olivia. For many years, Liam and Olivia had been together behind my back. During the month that I was pregnant, Olivia was also pregnant. On the day that I gave birth, Liam arranged for both Olivia and me to be in the same hospital. And coincidentally, we had daughters. To let Olivia's daughter have the life of a wealthy heiress, Liam switched our daughters. Lily, the child I had been doting on for so many years, was actually Olivia's daughter. And my real daughter had been abused by Olivia, beaten every day. Actually, there were times when I had my doubts. How could my child, who I had given birth to, not have the same personality as me? I am quiet and reserved. I was the model daughter that everyone loved and praised since childhood. As an adult, I also loved to volunteer and help others. Even my husband seemed like a very honest person in front of me. But the daughter that I raised for so many years was spoiled and selfish, and she had no compassion. One time, I saw her secretly torturing and killing small animals. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that I had given birth to such a child. After I scolded her, I did a DNA test for her and Liam, and it turned out that they were indeed father and daughter. The results showed that they were related, and even though I didn't like my daughter's personality, I had to be patient with her. If not for this mysterious suicide, I would probably never doubt my daughter's true background. And now, the child that my secretary brought was my real biological daughter. Maybe it's because they are paternal half-siblings, but she looks like the body on the ground. Even her hair and her clothes were styled to be exactly like the body on the ground. At a glance, they looked like twins, but her face was filled with fear, like a cat that had been beaten. She was always careful around everyone. The people there were stunned by this turn of events. The comments in the live stream were full of questions. Only Liam and Olivia had their eyes wide, in shock. "You little bitch, you're actually still alive?" Olivia was the first to react and glared at my daughter with extreme hatred. I protected my trembling daughter behind me and turned to face Olivia. "The middleman that you used to switch the kids had been secretly bought off by me. So you actually threw your own daughter off the roof?" My words were like a heavy hammer that shattered Olivia's heart again. Even though she had already recognized her daughter's body, my words hit her hard. She was the one that had killed her own daughter. Her plan was to use my daughter as a scapegoat, put the blame on me, and kill me. That way, she, her husband, and Lily could live together as a happy family. But she ended up killing her own daughter, Lily. How could she accept this? Liam was so angry that his veins were bulging as he yelled at me, "You are a cruel woman. Even if Lily wasn't your real daughter, you've raised her for 5 years. How could you just watch her die?" I stared straight at Liam and said, "Yes, I raised Lily for 5 years. But in the past 5 years, Lily was spoiled and selfish. She didn't treat me nicely either. She always treated me like her slave. Do you know how I realized something was off about her today? It's because when I sent her to school, she was extra well-behaved and even told me that she loved me the most. That's very unusual, so I had someone investigate her background. I looked at the body on the ground and coldly said to Olivia, "Although our daughters look similar, they're still different. I didn't think that you were so evil that you didn't even take a closer look and just threw your own daughter off the roof." In my previous life, I didn't recognize that Lily was not my real daughter because, by the time I had arrived, her body was beyond recognition. The blood everywhere had made me too sad to make a clear judgment. But when Olivia pushed Lily off the roof, Lily was still perfectly fine. I didn't think that Olivia could be so heartless and irrational. Olivia's eyes bulged as she glared at me. "Sarah, aren't you afraid of retribution?" I looked at her with a confused face. "Shouldn't I be asking you that? Even if my daughter wasn't your real daughter, you didn't need to abuse her, beat her, and kill her. Besides, Lily is the one who you killed. Why should I be punished?" I remembered in my last life, my real daughter didn't get to enjoy anything. Olivia threw her off a building and killed her. I had done nothing wrong, yet Olivia and Liam had accused me of crimes that I did not commit. I was thrown in prison and abused to death. and my parents had died a suspicious death with no one to deal with their funerals. And in this life, the three of them still tried everything to kill us. I couldn't find any reason to be kind to them. Lily wasn't my daughter. Even though she was spoiled and selfish, I had always been patient with her and tried my best to raise and teach her. But my secretary told me that Lily knew about this all along. She also knew that Olivia would harm my daughter and frame me. She even worked with Olivia to create the video accusing me. She had such a vicious mind despite her young age. She was willing to do anything to be with her biological mother. Since she was so heartless toward me, why should I be kind to her? Olivia had been completely enraged by me. "I am going to kill you." She dropped the body on the ground and tried to attack me, but the police suddenly arrived at that moment. They went straight to Olivia and Liam. "We have received information that the two of you are suspected of child abuse, slander, and murder. Please come with us." Olivia and Liam were escorted away by the police, while being insulted by everyone. Due to their heinous crimes and the public pressure, they were both quickly sentenced to death. And I, with my real daughter, began a new life. To avoid any further harm, I decided to stay single. In this life, I will use all of my love to heal my daughter from her past 5 years of trauma. I will let her know that life is worth living.